Hey guys, welcome to Temple 420. Yay! We're on day 4 of the ministry, and we do a 49-day ministry, 7 weeks long. Trying to do that for 7 years in a row here in Wheeling, West Virginia. This is where I purchased a church. I bought the first church ever built in Wheeling, West Virginia. And if you've been watching me so far, they're trying to take it away from me, but that's not going to happen. At least they're not trying to arrest me and put me in jail this time, thank God. And when I say they, I'm not even talking about the county assessor or whoever's there. It's a spirit of not wanting me to be able to be a preacher that I'm feeling. All right, I'm a little overdressed here. I got my jacket on. It's kind of cold. For me, being from Southern California and spending a majority of my adult life, or at least half of my adult life, in the Yucatan, in Mexico. So that's where my kids are right now, and my uncle just died down there. So my mother is asking me to go down there from the 8th to the 14th. So I was thinking of driving down to Mexico, and I'll take my computer with me and my phone, and I'll continue to do my services on the road because that's what I do this time of year. Especially, and this is so cool, I wanted to talk about this word, the Acharit Ha-Yamin. And Ha is the in Hebrew, like we say Ha-Mashiach, Ha, the Messiah, Hashem, the name. And that's like if you see Orthodox people greet each other, they're like, hey, Baruch Hashem, means blessed is the name, because the name of God is so sacred, Jehovah, Yud He Vav He, that you just shouldn't say it. And a lot of times it was translated into Adonai in the Hebrew, and then in your King James Version, I think you see Lord, L-O-R-D, in all caps. So that's how that was translated. And the reason I'm making my video in the morning, and I'm going to have it released tonight at 7:18 with the sundown, is because I think I have to go to Maryland and file charges against that podcaster, Tim Pool, who filed fake charges against me, accusing me of burglary, being the thief in the night. I mean, that was the only redeeming thing that it made me feel like, oh, okay, they called me a thief in the night. Like, that's what they called Jesus. Okay, I'll take it. But other than that, I hated this guy. I'm facing years in prison, losing my children again right after I start the temple again. So the Bible says if you're gonna, or Jesus said, if you're gonna follow him, you will face tribulation and troubles and trials. And really that's what tribulation means, is just troubles and trials. And they all come to everybody. Every single one of us has trials and troubles in our lives. And there's also the end time troubles, that the Acharit Ha-Yamin. And so those are the latter days, the end times. I think end times is the best way to translate that into English. But it really means what I think is the kind of times we're going through right now. So Moses wrote about this in the book of Deuteronomy, and I'm really not a Bible reader, and I hate the way I look sometimes on TV because I have a big ass nose, and then my glasses make it look like it's almost a fake nose to me anyway. So this is where Moses finds out he's not going into the promised land, and he's a little bummed, but God says, listen, dude. Well, here, I'll just read it in his own words. Then I pleaded with Adonai, Adonai Elohim. That means lords of gods. And that's like, so for Christians, they're always saying, the Lord of lords, Adoni Adonai, the God of gods, Eloi Elohim, the King of kings, Melech Melechim. And you have begun to reveal your greatness to your servants and your strong hand. For what other God is there in heaven or on earth that can do the works and mighty deeds you do? Please let me go across and see the good land on the other side of the Yarden. That's the Jordan. And I'm using 2 glasses. I've never been to a doctor. I just use fucking reading glasses. And everyone says I should stop swearing. that wonderful hill country in the Levant, that's Lebanon. But Adonai was angry with me on account of you, and he didn't listen to me. He's even blaming the people. Moses didn't take a lot of responsibility there, even when he's 100 and something years old. Adonai said to me, enough from you. Don't say another word about this matter. Climb up to the top of Pisah, and look out to the west and the north and the south and the east. Look with your eyes, but you will not cross this river, this Jordan. However, commission Joshua, encourage him and strengthen him, for he will lead the people across and enable them to inherit the land that you will see. So we stayed in the valley across from Bet Peor. Okay, I think I got to sneeze. And that's what I said, guys. This book is a land deed. Okay, I don't know how to pause. I can pause. I'm going to sneeze. Okay, I got my sneeze out. All right, so I'm going to keep going. We're in Deuteronomy 4. Now, Yisrael, listen to the laws and rulings I am teaching you in order to follow them, so that you will live. Then you will go in and take possession of the land that Adonai, the God of your fathers, is giving you. Hello, land deed. This is about land, okay? And most of the Jews don't believe it. That's why the Muslims have closed this gate. That's why they put the Al-Aqsa Mosque on top of the Temple Mount, because they think they can stop what's coming. But nothing can stop what's coming. Okay, so the land which I am giving you, the God of your fathers is giving you, in order to obey the mitzvot of Adonai your God, which I am giving you, and the mitzvot is a blessing. Do not add what I am saying, and do not subtract from it. That's what he's talking about, this word. So it's a land deed. You saw with your own eyes what Adonai did at Baal Peor. Then Adonai destroyed from among you all the men who followed Baal Peor. Okay, and Baal, like Baal worship, Baal, sometimes they call it Baal. I think it's Baal. But that's like a false god, and he was very popular at the time. If you know the story where they hire Balaam to come and curse the people, and the donkey talks back to him, and he can't curse them at all. He's just blessing them and blessing. He's like, dude, I freaking paid you to curse them, not bless them. And he says, listen, I can't curse what God has blessed. I can only do what God tells me to do. So even though the prophet was taking money to do curses and blessings on people, he was selling his connection with the Creator. He really was connected to the Creator, because he said, listen, I can't curse what God has blessed. And so let's keep going. So Adonai destroyed from among you all the men that followed him. But look who stuck with Adonai your God. But you who stuck with Adonai your God are still alive today. And that's the whole thing. Our God is the God of the living, not the dead, like the Egyptians. Every one of you, look, I have taught you laws and rulings, just as Adonai my God ordered me, so that you can behave accordingly in the land where you are going in order to take possession of it. It's a land deed. That's what the Palestinians know. That's what the Philistines knew. That's what the Egyptians knew. That's what the Babylonians knew. That's what the Greeks, well, no, they didn't know the scriptures as well as these other people. But the Muslims know we're the people of the book. That's why they created their own false book. And I have Muslim friends who I care about, and I just don't know what to do to get them to come to the truth yet, but whatever. Therefore, let's keep going. Take possession of the land. Therefore, observe them and follow them. For then all the people will see you as having wisdom and understanding. And that's the whole thing. The time of the Gentiles is coming to an end. There are more and more Jewish believers in the Messiah, and they're preparing the way for his second coming. And when they hear all of these laws, they will say, this great nation is surely a wise and understanding people. And the Jewish people are among the most intelligent on aggregate, not individually, but on aggregate in the world. And maybe it's because we've been persecuted and God has always kept a small remnant of us, and you've had to use your intuition and your wit as Jewish people to survive. So, I mean, think of the last great tribulation that the Jewish people suffered under the globalists, Hitler. And you wondered, did they win World War II? Because why did the Americans and the Russians take so many Nazis into our... I hope my glasses aren't as distracting to you as they are to me every time I look at this camera. But I really want to be able to read this and read it properly for you. Okay, so for what great nation is there that God has as close... For what great nation is there that has God as close to them as Adonai, our God, is, whenever we call on Him? And that's the whole thing. Clean up your act, call on God, and He can help you straighten out your personal life as well as bring us our land. When a great nation is there that has laws and ruling is just as His entire Torah, which I am setting before you today. So this is the writings of Moses. That's why he's writing this. This is the Torah. It's the book of Deuteronomy. Devarim. Okay. Only be careful and watch yourselves diligently as long as you live, so that you won't forget what you saw with your own eyes, so that these things won't vanish from your hearts. Rather, make them known to your children and grandchildren. And that's the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elokeinu, Adonai Echad. That's our God is one. That's why we have that little 10 Commandments or the Shema on our doorway in the mezuzah, and we kiss it when we come in and out to remind us every morning when you wake up, when you're eating your breakfast, when you're going out to the fields to work, when you're taking care of your animals, when you come in for lunch, when you come, you're supposed to teach your children about this story, about the promise of their land, okay? Let me see if I can find my place and we'll keep going. Okay, only be careful and watch yourselves diligently so that you won't forget what you saw with your own eyes, and make it known to your children and grandchildren. The day you stood before Adonai, your God, at Horeb, it's Horeb in the King James, when Adonai said to me, gather the people to me, and I will make them hear my very words, so that they will learn to hold me in awe as long as they live on earth, and so that they will teach their children. You approached and stood at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain blazed with the fire to the heart of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick mist. I mean, that must have been a sight to behold. Then Adonai spoke to you out of the fire. You heard the sounds of the words, but saw no shape. There was only a voice. He proclaimed His covenant to you, which He ordered you to obey. The 10 words. I think that's the 10 Commandments. And that's similar in the book of Daniel. I think Nebuchadnezzar's grandson, he's having a party and he orders his people to bring out the vessels they stole from the temple, the golden cups and stuff, and they're all toasting, making fun of our God. And suddenly a hand appears. Mene, mene, tekel parso. And like no one knows what the hell it's saying. It's some disembodied hand writing on the wall. Freaks these people out. They're like, get Daniel. Because Daniel was like a prophet in his day. And it's a great story, the book of Daniel. And it's short. You guys should read it. And make sure you read that one to your kids, because it's also an end times prophecy book. So Daniel comes in and he says, oh, it means you've been weighed and measured. Your time is up. And by the next morning, Cyrus and the Persians had blocked the gate of the river and come and snuck under the gate. Were totally unopposed. They had taken the whole city in one night. And I don't remember if he was killed or taken as a captive. But yeah, a night of partying led to the end of the Babylonian Empire. And so that was after 70 years, and then the Jewish people were free. And we've just gone through like a 70th anniversary of the receiving, I think we're at 75 years now, of the coming back of Israel. So this is a really end times. This is the as we said before, the Acharit Yamin. Being dyslexic here. Okay, so which ordered you to obey the 10 words, and he wrote them on 2 stone tablets. Yes, those are the 10 commandments. And at that time, Adonai ordered me to teach you the laws and rulings so that you would live by them in the land that you were entering in order to take possession of it. And Moses helped him build the tabernacle. He created the system of judges. He distributed the land to the tribes. He created the cities of refuge. So he set up everything for the people and then didn't go into the land with them. Therefore, watch out for yourselves, since you did not see a shape of any kind on the day that Adonai spoke to you in Horeb from the fire. Do not become corrupt and make yourself carved images having the shape of any figure. This is one of the 10 commandments. First, have no God before me. Love him with all your heart and all your might, and don't make any graven images. So here he's repeating that one. Not a representation of a human being, male or female. We have a lot of statues out there all the time that people worship. Or a representation of any animal on earth, a representation of any bird that flies in the air, or any representation of anything that creeps along the ground, or any representation of fish in the water below the shoreline. For the same reason, do not look up at the sky, at the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything in the sky, and be drawn away to worship and serve them. It's okay to do astronomy, but you're not supposed to go, oh, the stars tell me everything. I'm going to worship the stars. Because God made them. He put them there for you. God, Adonai, your God, has allotted these things to all peoples under the sky. Yeah, not just the Jewish people. No, you, Adonai, has taken and brought out all the smelting furnaces out of Egypt to be a people of inheritance for him as you are today. You, Adonai, has taken and brought out of the smelting furnace, out of Egypt, to be a people. Oh, okay. So he's taken the Jewish people out of Egypt, out of a place where they worship the cult of death, to have the God of the living, the God of life. Okay? But Adonai was angry with me on account of you. He's blaming the people again, and swore that I would not cross the Jordan, and go into the good land with which... Okay, I'm getting close on the time. I would not go across the Jordan, which Adonai your God is giving you to inherit. Land title, hello, and the Muslims know it. That's why, and the Palestinians know it. But the Muslims use the Palestinians to fight the Jews just because they know it's our land. And it's not the land of the Jews, it's the land of the people who follow the word and the commandments and know that this is the one true God, okay? Rather, I must die in this land and not cross the Jordan, but you are to cross and take possession of that good land. Watch out for yourselves so that you won't forget the covenant of Adonai your God, which he made with you, and make yourself carved images. And the Jews did that. They went back to idol worship and all sorts of things, and that's why they kept being punished, because God is a good father. And if you break his rules, he's going to punish you, so you learn. A representation of anything forbidden to you by Adonai your God. For Adonai your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. And when he says a jealous God, think of the prophet Hosea. God ordered him to marry a hoe and to love her. And this chick cheated on him over and over. His children were bad. And he had a really rough life. But he was like, I still love her like God loves you, like Israel, even though you freaking are whoring yourself out to all these other gods. So you have children and grandchildren. When you have had children and grandchildren, lived a long time in the land, become corrupt, and made a carved image, God knew, a representation of something, and thus done what is evil in the sight of Adonai your God, and provoking him. This is what Moses is saying. I call on the sky and the earth to witness against you today that you will quickly disappear from the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You will not prolong your days, but you will be completely destroyed. Okay, so first they were taken into Babylon for 70 years, and then he says, Adonai will scatter you among the peoples. That's like all the peoples of the nations, and that's the situation that we're in right now. Okay, this one's definitely going over. And among the nations to which Adonai will lead you away, you will be left few in number. Hello, look how few the Jewish people are now, from a great mighty kingdom under King David to now. And we've been trimmed and dispossessed of land and greatly diminished time and time again. There you will serve gods which are the products of human hands. Oh boy. Made of wood and stone, which can't hear, eat, or smell. However, from there you will seek Adonai your God, and you will find him if you search after him with all your heart and being. Okay, that we're going back to the first commandment. Seek God with all your heart. Love him with all your heart. And in your distress, when all of these things have come upon you, in the acharit ha-yamin, in the end times, when shit's really bad, okay? Sorry, I'm swearing. Well, really, I'm not. You will return to Adonai your God and listen to what he says. For Adonai your God is a merciful God. He will not fail you, destroy you, or forget the covenant with your ancestors, which he swore to them. What's the covenant, folks? It's a land deed. It's some title to some land in the Middle East, okay? Read the book and know the word. Indeed, inquire about the past before you were born, since the day God created human beings on earth. From one end of heaven to the other, has there ever been anything as wonderful as this? Has anyone heard anything like it? Did any other people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of fire as you have heard and stay alive? No. Okay? The Egyptians were in awe. They couldn't approach them, the most powerful army in the world, and a bunch of running away slaves with no weapons were protected led by fire at night and a cloud of smoke by day, and it prevented the Egyptians from getting them. They crossed a sea, walked across an underwater land bridge, which you can go on YouTube right now and say, oh, let me see the land bridge they took, and look at the remnants from the Egyptians. This is like redonkulous that people still think this title deed to some land is BS. It isn't. Have you ever heard of anything like it? Did any other people hear the voice of God speaking out of fire? Or has God ever tried to go and take for himself a nation from the very bowels of another nation by means of ordeals, signs, wonders, wars, a mighty hand, an outstretched arm, and terrors, like all that Adonai did, your God did for you in Egypt before your very eyes? I mean, these are the people who were in Egypt and their descendants. This was shown to you so that you would know that Adonai is God and there is no other beside him. From heaven he caused you to hear his voice in order to instruct you, and on earth he caused you to see his great fire, and you heard his very words coming out of the fire. Because he loved your ancestors, chose their descendants after them, and brought you out of Egypt with his presence and great power. He knew you before you were conceived in your mother's womb, in order to drive out ahead of you nations greater and stronger than you, so that he could bring you in and give you their land, the Canaanites' land, the Philistines' land, the Amorites' land. Give you their lands as an inheritance, as is the case today. Okay? We're back in the land. Know today and establish it in your heart that Adonai is God in heaven and above and on earth below. There is no other. Therefore you are to keep his laws and mitzvot, which I am giving you today, so that you will go well with you and your children after you, so that you will prolong your days in the land Adonai, your God, is giving you forever. Forever. That's a forever title. Freaking deed, okay? Anyone who knows real estate knows what's up with that. Then Moshe separated 3 cities on the east of the Jordan towards the sunrise, to which killers might flee. Oh, these are the cities of refuge. That is someone who kills by mistake a person who he did not previously hate, and upon fleeing to one of these cities might live there. These cities were Betzer in the desert, in the flatland, for the Reubeni, that's the tribe of Reuben. Romot in Gilead, for the Gadi, the tribe of Gad. And Golan in Bashan, for the Manasseh, that's Joseph's son Manasseh. This is the Torah which Moshe placed before the people of Israel. These are the instructions, laws, and rulings which Moses, presented, Moises in Spanish, presented to the people of Israel. It doesn't matter what you call these people, they're real people. After they had come out of Egypt, beyond the Jordan, in the valley across from Beet Peor, in the land of Sichon, king of the Emori, who lived in Heshbon, whom Moshe and the people of Israel defeated when they came out of Egypt. And they took possession of his land and the land of Og. Remember Gog and Magog? This is Og, king of Bashan, the 2 kings of Amori, who were beyond the Jordan towards the sunrise, from the Aroer on the edge of Arnon Valley, Mount Sion. I think that might be Sinai. Not sure. That is that tells you right here. That is Mount Hermon. I guess that's what it says. Mount Hermon in the King James. With all of the Arava beyond Arava. Haaretz is the land. Ava. I know Ava in the middle. Ava. Ava is father. I'm not sure what that word is. Beyond the Jordan, eastward, all the way to the Dead Sea. Oh, it's telling us. He's giving us the rivers. He's telling us where the land is. This is the land you're freaking promised. Hello. Okay. So, like I said, this whole book is a land deed. But for the people to take possession, whether you're Jew or Gentile, you're a seed of Abraham. If you're a follower of Yeshua the Messiah, then you're a follower of the commandments. It's that simple. And the Jewish people need to wake up and come back to the book, because I know people in Israel right now, and they really don't believe. And they don't believe. They're living there. They're taking and come on, folks. I just don't want to get censored off here. That's why I don't want to say everything. All right, I got to post this. I got stuff to do. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day. Thank you to the few of you who are listening to me and checking it out. I really appreciate it. This book is a land deed. We're granted some land. That's what it's all about, the whole thing. Believe it or not.